Well, a simple rescue mission quickly turns into something much more urgent in a highly intense episode that perfectly sets up next week's what is sure to be a chaotic finale. Hey guys, remember Shadowhunters Season 2, Episode 9, Bound by Blood, and holy shit, one episode. I mean, this episode was insane. I know that I've been saying that I've really been enjoying this season. I've really been giving it a lot of praise, but it really has been great. And this episode especially really does show how great the show can be. I mean, this episode was extremely intense. It seemed like there was just one thing after another. And like I said, it really did a very good job of setting up what's going to be, for sure, a highly intense finale. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff going down next week, but let's just get into this episode because there definitely is a lot to talk about. This wasn't a perfect episode. I'll talk about why, but this definitely was pretty close to perfect, so let's just get into it. So early on in the episode, we see Simon and Clary. They're fooling around in bed. They're making out in a canoe, and it looks like they're about to have sex, but they're really interrupted by Jace, which I actually did like the scene. Do I like Jace's, still sort of feelings for Clary? Not really. I do think they haven't really had anything for Jace to do, but he was acting like a brother here. I like seeing him, interrupt Simon and Clary with the air horn. I thought that was pretty funny. So Valentine, after Clary, he doesn't think that they're safe there. That's the main reason why he's coming to get them, because he just doesn't feel this is going to be a safe place for them. Valentine's going to find them. So just as he and Simon are about to compete to see who's tougher, Clary's hand suddenly starts turning black and seems to be burning her, and we don't know what that's really all about, but she's, obviously freaked out by this. She's never really seen something like this transpired, and that, it perfectly sets up what is essentially the catalyst for the rest of this episode. I mean, this episode really goes in some crazy directions, but they go to their resident warlock friend Magnus to try to get an idea of what's going on. He tells them it's a result of Iris's blood oath, and as long as Clary doesn't bring Madsy back to Iris, she's, the blood oath will continue to consume her until it reaches her heart, at which time she's going to die. So, yeah, I mean, this is a very dire situation. We knew, obviously, Madsy was kidnapped, and we knew that Valentine, took her, but now this is even more urgent to get Madsy back, and I thought that definitely was interesting to see. Now, obviously Clary's not gonna die, but they do a good job of setting up this, her possibly impending doom. So Clary and Jace go share her element to Luke. They decide they need to rope Simon back into the search for Madsy after he had been able to go with them to Magnus in the daylight, because of course he can't be in the daylight. So just as Clary goes to get her boyfriend from the dock warehouse he's living in, she's nearly attacked by a werewolf, and we don't know what that's about, but together she and Jason and Simon get the werewolf to reveal itself, and it turns out that the werewolf actually is Maya, and Maya is after her. Maya had heard all about Clary being able to activate the soul sword, and she thinks the other girl needs to die before she's used in Valentine's efforts to destroy the Downworld, because she knows that Clary is the main thing that Valentine is after, and if she kills Clary, then she'll basically destroy all of Valentine's plans, and that is true, but obviously it's not going to end up well for her at all, and Maya's, Maya's plan is very, very flawed there. So Simon and Luke are understandably pissed at her, which, you can completely understand why. This is the person they care about the most, and she's trying to put her at harm. So Jace, Clary, and Simon go resume their search to find Madsy. Luke ends up locking Maya in a tiny room, which I really don't blame him. I think that's the right thing to do. She tried to attack Clary. How the hell are they going to trust her? She's in this tiny room with the J-Wolf to keep her from going after Clary again or telling other than the Downworld about Clary's abilities. And it's very rough because, as we know, she's extremely claustrophobic. And I like that they took something that seemed relatively minute and not really something that seemed like it was going to have a lot of emphasis on the show, and actually made it the driving force of Maya's plot in this episode, that she is in fact claustrophobic, so she's freaking out. I mean, she wants to get out of there, but her pleas fall on deaf ears because Luke actually leaves her there alone, which was a bit harsh, but again, if he wouldn't, she probably would have tried to join anyway, so it probably was the best thing to do to leave her there. So Magnus and Alec then have his heart-to-heart about the whole almost jumping off the building stunt that Alec almost pulled while under Iris' spell, and Magnus points out the spell only drew upon fears that already exist. He makes his boyfriend promise to let him know if he ever really does get that bad. It's a nice scene. I like seeing these two have this heart-to-heart. I like seeing them talk it out, and it's clear they're getting closer, but as it turns out, that may not be seen as a good thing in the rest of the eyes of the Downworld. We can tell it's not really a good thing. So After Izzy has a brief meeting early in the episode with Aldertree, he invites her to dinner and she declines, and Izzy then disappoints, and Alec gets understandably concerned and goes to Aldertree himself, and he says that Izzy is acting strange, implies that he thinks that Aldertree has something to do with it, which of course we know he does. I mean, Aldertree, again, that's definitely the reason why Izzy is acting so strange, because of what he did. So Alec just has this gut feeling about it, but he can't get the guy to admit to anything, and anyway, he's walking very careful political lines by accusing the leader of the Institute of anything. So obviously, it's not going to look good in his eyes. Obviously, I mean, this could end up really bad for everyone involved. Aldertree was, hired to put the Institute in order because he felt the Institute was broken and that it wasn't being used in an organized manner. And yeah, I mean, that's the reason why Aldertree has been here. Has he really done anything? No, but he's the one who has control right now. And, Alec, as much as he wants to, he can't really do anything. And this was definitely one of Alec's best episodes, maybe his best. I really thought this was a great episode for Alec. I love what he did here. I love the direction they went with him. But then we get to my more problematic issue with this episode, and that, of course, is Izzy. Because, as you guys know, I really do like Izzy as a character. I think the actress is fine. And I've been on board with this arc. It took me a while to get into it, but it's really starting to lose me. Where it went in this episode, really starting to lose me, I have to say, because she's relatively fine aside from a little problem for being addicted to Yin Fen and Demon Blood. She's on the side throughout this entire episode, and her and Raphael are cooking together at his place. She even admits that he cooks every Sunday to bring food to a Catholic retirement home in Harlem, where his little sister is now 78 years old and lacking any memory of who he is, actually resides, which I thought was interesting, but this to me just kind of took away from the rest of the episode. I don't really know why we needed this going on in this particular episode. I get, obviously, they wanted to end the stuff going on with Izzy, but just this really did take away, and especially once we get to the next scene. So we'll get back to Izzy and Alec later, because I definitely do want to get into that, but there's this meeting that takes place between a bunch of different characters, Luke, Magnus, Raphael, members of the Selly call to order to talk about the problem of Clary, the Soul Sword, and defeating Valentine. Luke wants the help from the Sealy and vampires because they need all the help they could possibly get. I mean, Clary is in dire need here, so one of the Sealy who had a relation with Izzy instead suggested they kill Clary, as Maya had suggested, because if they kill Clary, again, they're eliminating probably their biggest threats, and that's what's really complicated here, is that Clary, while she is the Soul Sword, she also does have the Soul Sword. I mean, she's the one that's susceptible to, get the Soul Sword, and she's the one that's going to be the one to take down, that's, the only way it's going to be able to take down Valentine. But at the same time, there's the other side of the spectrum who feels that Clary is a problem, and by eliminating Clary, Valentine won't be as in pursuit of them anymore, which, yeah, I mean, that's kind of true, but then you'd have to get Jace away as well, because he'd still be coming after Jace. Now, we know, obviously, he did this to weaken Clary, but I don't know, I feel like Valentine has more of an idea than doing that. We know he wants to kill all the Downworlds. He doesn't just want to destroy Clary, he wants to kill all the Downworlds and start over again. I don't think that the Sealy really realize that here. So Magnus and Luke are back at the bulk of the suggestion. The Sealy man brings up the fact that the two of them and Raphael are biased and have become too close to Shadowhunters, and that's something that they cannot do. They need to treat them as disposable as possible. And he brings up Jocelyn, Alec, and Izzy, and that last one is a surprise to Magnus. Raphael agrees that if Clary has to die to protect the Downworld, so be it. If they have to die, then that's just how it's going to have to be. So Clary's not actually going to die, but they do a good job with showing why she might actually have to die. I really actually did like the way that went down. I thought that was definitely quite well done here. But back to Izzy, we get this really ridiculous scene where Izzy ends up offering Raphael her wrist again. He bites it, fulfilling the addictions they both have. It's not really a very healthy relationship at all, but, it is what it is. So Magnus goes to Alec after the meeting. He tells him that he thinks he knows where Izzy is after all. He then confesses to his lover that he had Alec's sister the other day asking after Yin Fen, and Alec is angry with him for not telling him. Magnus says that he had believed her lie that she was working undercover for Aldertree to get the drug. He hadn't put together the fact that she may be getting a fix straight from the source until the meeting that involved Raphael. He thought she was just doing this to infiltrate Aldertree and what have you, so he didn't do anything. But Alec is still upset with Magnus, but he does get him to admit where Izzy is, and We get this awesome scene where they go to Raphael's. Izzy and the vampires are getting high off each other. It's really bad at this point. Alec ends up attacking Raphael, and Izzy can only yell to them to stop. She's so out of it. She can't even do anything. So Magnus makes his way into the room, uses magic to make Alec stop attacking Raphael, who had been trying to escape to Alec that he cared about the Shadowhunter sister. He very much did care about Izzy and wants a relationship with her. But Alec tells Magnus that the whole thing never would have happened if the Warlock had just told him what was going on with Izzy. If he would have just told him that, then none of this would have transpired. He grabs his sister, takes her out of the building, and Raphael repeats to Magnus that he really does care about Izzy, just as Magnus cares for Alec. Magnus tells him it's not the same thing. That's just Raphael's addiction talking, and there's really no way to know if they actually do like each other until they're no longer addicted. So we don't really know what's going on here. Long story short, like I said, the storyline is kind of losing me. Izzy ends up pulling away from Alec outside the building, telling him that she doesn't need his help. She says Raphael was there for her when Alec didn't even notice anything was wrong, and basically tells him to get lost. So they're kind of left at odds here. Alec really does want to help her, but Izzy doesn't want him to do anything. So it's kind of an interesting situation here with the way that's going to go down. I like seeing Alec take charge. I think it's rare to see him so protective of Izzy. It's kind of the other way around usually, but I really did love seeing this go down. I thought this was very well done, but like I said, the storyline is kind of losing me in hindsight. But anyways, back to Clary. Valentine is Madsy at a warehouse full of carnival games and rides and such for most of the episode, and he's just treating her like a normal little girl. And he says, when we first seen him, he's trying to get Dot to do a certain spell, threatening to inject the little girl with the same experiment he's been given to the older witch. And Dot doesn't want to see the powerful little girl harmed, so she continues her efforts, and I like that even though she is commanded under Valentine, she has limits. Like, she's not going to do this to a little girl. I mean, that's just going too far. So elsewhere, Simon, Jason, and Clary keep looking for Madsy. They're able to use a scarf they get from a homeless man near the park where she was taken to track her. But Jason's worried that Valentine's making the whole thing too easy for them. What if, he wants to be found? So they drive around. Clary admits that maybe she should be killed in order to protect the Downworld from being destroyed at her own hand, and she tries to get Simon to agree to kill her if Valentine gets a hold of her, and he's obviously not going to agree to that. I mean, he just got his girl. He's been waiting an entire century to get the girl, and he finally got her. He's not going to lose her now, obviously. He's not going to just straight up kill her, but Jace actually does agree to do this, and I don't think it's because it's saying that Jace is, has any animosity towards Clary. Instead, I think it's that he knows that that's exactly what needs to be done. He's had enough time with Valentine to know that by killing Clary, he is sort of eliminating a threat. And then he won't have as much attraction to her, things like that. Just things will be better for them overall. So, Jace is willing to kill Clary if he has to, which I thought was quite interesting. But the small group gets to a certain point. Jace and Simon get out of the van. They agree to split up. Simon thinks that Jace should stay since he can actually protect the severely weakened Clary, and it seems like Jace agrees. But then he sneaks away. Simon's on the phone with Luke, who explains about the meeting with the vampires and Sealy. So Simon's left to comfort Clary, who's getting weaker to the minute thanks to the blood oath. And while Jace goes to find Valentine and Madsy, he finds them at a cafe, tells Valentine to hand the little girl over. He explains about the blood oath and basically says that if his father doesn't hand Madsy over, Clary's gonna die. And Valentine thinks he's bluffing, that his son wouldn't let his sister die like that. But Jace is adamant. I mean, he really doesn't see another option out of this except for Clary possibly being sacrificed. That's just what's going to happen. So Clary's on the brink of death at this point. There's a lot of heartfelt confessions between her and Simon on the roof of the van. It's actually a really well done scene. The two actors here, both Catherine McNamara and Alberto Rosindi, they did an incredible job in this scene. I really do feel their chemistry here. They've done a very good job of building that chemistry, and Jace and Madsy show up just in time. The little girl's miraculously able to heal Clary, so she is clearly very powerful. We can tell. I mean, she seems more powerful than Clary, but just then Madsy opens a portal. She pulls Clary through it before Simon or Jace can stop her, and she's taken to the warehouse that Valentine's been keeping Madsy in and chained up there. So obviously, it's very far from done, which I love. I love that at this point we think everything's fine, but as we quickly see, there's a lot more going on at stake, and I definitely love seeing that. Because the rest of this episode is essentially setting up what's going to go down next week, and what's going to happen looks like it's going to be an all-out war zone. I mean, this is pretty crazy. She's being taken there. The Downworld is falling into chaos. Jason and Simon find two sort of Sealy vampire hybrids attacking a mundane in public. I mean, it's a really bad situation. Like, they are straight up attacking him after calling Alec into the Institute. It sounds as if similar things are happening all over, so whatever Valentine did has kind of made things worse. So thanks to Valentine's experiments, the Downworld is ascending into chaos. And though most of the Shadowhunters are out dealing with the attacks happening all over the city, Alec calls on a few to go look for Clary before Valentine makes her use the Soul Sword, and Aldertree tries to stop him, that he's not the one to do this. Aldertree is the one who was sent to bring down, to commend the Institute. But Alec lets the older man know that he knows he was the one to first offer the Yin-Fen to Izzy, and if the guy doesn't want to become the next bit of gossip and suspicion in Idris, he has to go along with what Alec says. So I thought that was such a great moment for Alec. I loved seeing Alec take charge here, and I love basically him telling, look, as much as you want to be in charge, you're not in charge here. You don't really know what you're doing. So he agrees to a few Shadowhunters to listen to the younger man and go find Clary, basically realizing he doesn't really have any other of a choice except for that. So Simon and Jace work together to find Clary, eventually come upon the same two Downworlds they saw attacking the Mundane before going after another woman and a security guard in an apartment building, and even after Jace seems to kill one of them, he reanimates. It takes Luke showing up and really taking it out on him for him to die, which that was crazy to see, but they realize that the superpower chaotic Downworlds are likely a result of Valentine's experiment, so it's become even more important to find him. So Luke's able to track Cassandra to the warehouse that Valentine and Madsy have been staying in, along with Valentine's zoo, but no one seems to be there when they arrive. So Jace eventually finds Clary in the building. She's chained to the floor. She's able to free just as Valentine and Madsy appear. Madsy ends up freezing Jace, and Clary tries talking the little girl into not helping Valentine because, she knows that she doesn't have to do that. So he has her convinced that Clary's part of the reason that she can't see her Nana, and the little witch is also on his side. So he's very well, established her. She thinks she knows everything that's going on. She's not going to listen to Clary. He's kind of brainwashed her at this point, which I loved seeing this. I love that Valentine actually does have the upper hand here. Again, they've done a really great job with finding ways to make Valentine more intimidating, and this is a very good example of that. So just then, Simon attacks Valentine from behind, but he's no match for the older man. He subdues the vampire. Madsy creates a portal that Valentine, Simon, and the little girl escape through. So Jason and Clary left in the warehouse, and now Simon is at the mercy of her father, who's determined to destroy all Downworlders just like him. And that is the way this episode ends. Really crazy stuff overall. Let's just get into this episode and where we're going to go next week. So overall, guys, what an episode this was. I mean, there's really so much going on here. But let's first talk about Simon, because we obviously know Simon's not going to die. They're not going to kill off Simon. He's too beloved of a character. He's arguably, well, actually, I wouldn't say. I think Magnus and Alec are probably the most popular characters on the show. But he definitely is one of the best, and they really would be losing a lot if they actually killed off Simon. So I'm going to, and plus it's not even the end of the season, it's only the end of the first half of the season, so I don't think they're going to kill Simon for that reason. However, I do think he's going to be going through a lot of strenuous pain in order to, try to get away from Valentine. I think definitely Valentine's going to do what he can to torture him, and I think it's going to be very similar to that of what he did with Jace. The difference here is I think he's going to physically torture Simon, because, Simon is a mundane, Simon, he's not a mundane, I mean, Simon is in fact a downworlder. There's a lot more he can do to him, and there are a lot more reasons for him to hurt Simon. He's not going to hurt Jace because that's his son. Simon, on the other hand, is a completely different story, so I don't really know what's going to happen there. I think that whole thing is going to be very interesting to see how that all goes down. But Valentine's whole plan here is insane, really. I mean, basically, he wants to commit genocide. I've said this before. He wants a Downworlder genocide, where he just wants to take every single Downworlder out, kill all of them, and then start over again. It's crazy to think about, but you can understand why. I mean, things are kind of chaotic here, and honestly, I kind of can see where he's coming from, and that's when you know you have a good villain, is when you can kind of see where Valentine is coming from here, because I honestly can understand that, yeah, I mean, it's no secret to anyone that the Downworlders are in chaos. Now, yes, this was kind of all Valentine's idea. He was the one who came up with this experiment and everything, but the Downworld's in chaos. Things are getting really bad, and there really isn't a way to fix it all except for destroying the Downworlds. Now, I know that's not going to happen, because like I said, if that were to happen, this entire show would be over, and there'd be a whole new cast, and I'm pretty sure, as far as I know, I haven't read the books, but I'm pretty sure that does not happen. There's just too much going on for me to possibly think that's where we're going with the show. So I don't think they're going to go there at all. But again, it's a very interesting plan to see where that's going to go. And I like the way he actually was successfully brainwashed Madsy into thinking that Clary is the enemy and that she can't trust Clary at all and that everything that Clary says is bullshit. I mean, I was shocked that he was able to do that as well as he did, but he did. I mean, he's clearly well trained and he knows what he's doing here. And they definitely reiterated that very well here. Like I said, season 1, I would have never really thought Valentine was all that threatening, but this season they've done a very good job of not showing him a ton, showing him just enough though that he is still out there, he is still a very viable threat, and I'm quite intimidated by him. I think the actor in general is doing a very good job, and I like what we're seeing from him. So I'm definitely seeing where we're going to go with that. I loved seeing Alec take charge, though. I love exactly where this is going. Aldertree definitely is going to have to listen to Alec, even though if he doesn't want to. I do think that definitely something is going to come out with the infant, though. Someone's going to find out. They're going to have some sort of connection to Aldertree. I'm hoping it doesn't break Izzy's addiction, because I do think it's interesting where this is going. But like I said, this storyline is starting to lose me. This whole thing with her and Raphael, it was kind of laughable. I'm not going to lie. The scene where he was feeding her his blood, I thought I was watching porn. I straight up thought I was watching porn. She was moaning in delights. Being pleasured by what was going on. It just felt so fake. It was ridiculous. I was laughing. I really found it to be really, really dumb. So I wasn't really into that at all. I don't know why they decided to take it in this direction with her and Raphael. These two never really had much of a connection to begin with. I get that Magnus is very protective of Raphael. I understand that. A fan pointed out to me, well, not a fan. I wouldn't really say a fan. I don't really, know if it's a fan. As someone who watches my videos, point out to me that Raphael is to Magnus, what Alec is to Jace. So it definitely does make sense why Magnus is so intent on finding Raphael, but he also had no idea, what was going on with Raphael and Izzy. So things are not great between Alec and Magnus right now, and it's understandable. I mean, Magnus, as much as I think he wanted to do something, he didn't really think that's what was going on. He thought that Izzy was going to try to infiltrate Aldertree, and he obviously didn't want to be a part of that because he feels that Aldertree is keeping things in order and that he's someone who is, doing a good job of trying to, mend the Institute, but we've seen he really hasn't done much of that. I mean, things are getting a lot worse, so obviously Aldertree is really not doing a good job there. So I definitely think Aldertree is going to be significantly downgraded next week. He's not going to be gone. He's still going to be out there, but he's going to be downgraded, and I think he's going to have to come to terms and realize that, look, if I really want to do this, I need to kind of step back a bit and stop trying to control everything, because that's what Aldertree has been doing. That's really been ruining this. He's tried to control literally everyone. He tried to control Izzy. He tried to get, he made Jace stay. Just everything that he's done has been a result of Aldertree. And I really do like the character. I think the actor's great. I think the character's great. I don't think he's a villain, though. I think he genuinely does want to maintain order, but he really is relentless in doing that. He will do whatever he can to try to control people, and he needs to, like I said, just take a step back and realize not everything is in his control. There's just some things he's not going to be able to control, and he needs to understand that. So I don't really know where that's going to go, but I think that definitely is going to be quite interesting. Then this whole idea with killing Clary. Now, we know that Clary's not going to die. There's no way that Clary is going to die in the show, because who the hell are they going to focus on then? I don't think Clary's gonna die at all. Maybe there'll be, like, a cliffhanger. Oh my god, Clary might have died. If they do that, I think it'd be really dumb if the show went in that direction. They made us wait, like, 7 months if Clary's actually... We obviously know Clary's alive. There's no way they'd kill her off halfway through the season. That'd be so dumb if they did that. So, obviously, Clary's not gonna die, but I do think that something very big is going to happen, or something definitely very significant is going to happen. That's not just going to affect Clary, but it's going to affect the Downworld. I mean, definitely something very big and game-changing is about to happen. I don't know what it is, but I definitely feel like we're on the precipice of some huge type of twist that really is going to alter a lot of the show, and I don't really know what that's going to be, but we'll have to see really what that's all about. And then Maya, I like that Luke put Maya in check and basically told her that, look, if you're going to try to harm Clary, we get that you want to, you're very protective of Luke, and that you want to, you'll do what you can to try to save the Downworld, but, when you try to kill Clary, that's obviously crossing a line, so things are really not Great with Maya. I like that Luke actually, put her in that prison, even though she's very claustrophobic. I don't know where that's going to go, but definitely that's going to be interesting. And then a lot of people are talking about Clary and Simon, and yeah, it is kind of rushed. I'm pretty much thinking that the reason Clary's doing this is to basically get away from any sort of thoughts she has about her and Jace, because she needs to look at them as brother and sister. And I think in the back of her mind, she doesn't really think that. She still kind of thinks that these two are lovers because they briefly did have something before Valentine told them about them being related. So I do think she has it in the back of her mind. I think she definitely is worried about what's going to happen there. But I think the show needs to categorize that a bit, because again, it's not really easy to tell where we're going here. Clary suddenly being with Simon does feel a bit rushed, and it's just something that I do feel the show needs to kind of focus on a bit more and just flesh out and show more what's going on there. Just need to explore more, because it just hasn't been as explored as I think it could have been. But overall, guys, I absolutely love this episode. Apart from those little complaints with Izzy and Raphael that I thought were really dumb, this was by far one of the highlights of the season. I absolutely love this episode. It was intense, it was brutal, it was violent, and it really did provide some fantastic directions for where the mid-season finale is going to go. And I am definitely going to give Shadowhunters Season 2, Episode 9, Bound by Blood, a 4.5 out of 5, or an A-. So for guys, for this episode of Shadowhunters, let me know what you guys thought of this episode overall. Loved your thoughts on it. There's so many places that this show can go next week. I can't believe that we're already at the mid-season finale, but like I said, it's going to be all kinds of crazy next week. There are just so many places that they can take next week's episode, and I can't wait to see really where that's going to go. But let me know what you guys saw this episode. Loved your thoughts on it. Like I said, I really did love this episode overall. I think this is definitely one of the best episodes of the season. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for humans. I know that I am 2 episodes behind, but I did watch episode 2. Episode 3 I will be reviewing, but that will be at a later date, probably this weekend. I don't know exactly when, but that's what I'm going to say for now. And I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.